Well, good morning. Ryan O'Neill with AgriDry. Going over spreader maintenance today. Topics covered in this webinar will be end of the year maintenance for your spreader. Here we have a picture of a spreader. Obviously the hopper on the top, leveling band, and the chutes. As you can see, the chutes have tabs that sometimes collect some corn cobs or debris that will collect in those. And this is the time of year that is good to clean those out, along with the leveling band and the hopper also, to make sure it's clean. Here's a few things to look for, I guess, when you're cleaning out your spreader. Obviously, you can see the cordless battery pack in the leveling band. Other than that, the spreader actually looks pretty clean. Other than the debris, you could get buckets in there. You can get about anything. I've seen just about everything in there. So, here are some examples of failure to clean out. Obviously, the hopper is full. What I can see, there's probably 3 years of grain in there, the wheat and corn and soybeans. The leveling band knob is probably going to be corroded up at this situation. The one in the middle, the chute, obviously was not cleaned out. I'm assuming probably overfilled. And the one on the right, same thing. Probably overfilled, never cleaned off, and moisture gets to it, and that's kind of what we look. That's what we look for. Here's another example of the leveling band being full, chutes being full. That obviously it got some moisture on it, and we hardened and crusted over. And the rotten grain tended to unless cleaned off, is going to be a problem for next year's harvest. So, making sure the leveling band is clean. As you can see, the leveling band, actually the spreader looks pretty good, except the leveling band is for a low flow, which means it's sitting pretty close to the bottom and where we're cascading over the top. But there's no grain can go out from underneath of it, let it be corn cobs or whatever. So what we have to do is that white knob at the top is we have to turn that up, and if we see that it is bottomed out where it's at right now. And typically, the rule of thumb is as many threads it's showing as how high the bottom of the leveling band is. So kind of get your mark on where you're at right now, and then raise and lower that a couple times and clean them threads out so we don't have seizure and failure to when it comes harvest time. Lubricating the Acme thread. This is for the people that typically have the 20,000s and the 40,000 series spreaders. We ask that you, after the season and you clean out the spreader, is to lubricate the Acme threads. We've had just a little bit of problem with some of them freezing up from the moisture coming off the hot grain, and we just ask that you lube that Acme thread. That's, like I said, for the 20,000s and the 40,000s. The brace rods. These are the brace rods that are at the bottom of the spreader that have a hook that go into the bottom of the chute. And what can happen if we overfill the bend, what can happen is it'll pick that chute up and then it'll release itself off that brace rod. And then as you drain the bend, the chute will be vertically up and down. So what we want to do is we want to put the brace rod, make sure as you start unloading the bend, to take a look and make sure all the brace rods are still connected to the chute. and make sure they're secure. If not, this is the time to go in there and to reattach it to the chute. And if we do not catch it at this point, we'll have to come and we'll have to lower the spreader all the way back down and reinsert that. And obviously there's a service call involved in the money too. So here's an example of a pretty clean spreader. Got a little bit up in there, but nothing too bad. But this is a fairly clean spreader. This is what we should look like. If you look at that leveling band, you have it's up where the debris can still get out from underneath of it. Obviously, if you do clean that out, you're going to want to put it back, especially if you have a spreader that's working very well. You're going to want to mark that so you can get that back in the same spot. But typically what you want to do is you want to lift that leveling band so all the debris is cleaned out. If you have to stick something down in there and poke around and clean it out really good, this would be what it should look like when you got it cleaned up.